My husband had a relationship with a man, and never told me my husband is 31 and I'm 29. We've been together almost 4 years, married 2 years. We didn't know each other prior to 4 years ago, aka we didn't grow up together, go to school together, or anything like that. We live in a somewhat large city. By coincidence, I now work with a woman who went to college with my husband. They were friends, but didn't really keep in touch after they graduated. I worked with her for about 2 months before we realized that she used to know my husband. Now we've worked together for slightly less than a year. Last week we were talking about birthdays and Halloween plans, and how as adults we rarely go out and do anything for these occasions. But when we were younger, we always had multiple parties to go to. We were sharing some funny party stories, and she mentioned something about my husband. He was friends with all of the gay people, but had this other, more conservative preppy group that he was part of, and none of them would hang out with the gay group. He's sort of just the type who is friends with everyone. She mentioned, he was one of the most sexually confused men I've ever met. I sort of always knew he'd ultimately end up with a woman, but our hearts were when we found out he was dating that guy. I just laughed along like I knew exactly what she was talking about, but in reality, I had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. Now, yes, I know he does have several gay friends now, but so what? He never mentioned dating men before. At all. First, I want to say that I feel bad that this even bothers me. It shouldn't bother me. Who cares if he's dated men, women, non-binary people? I was sort of surprised just how much I suddenly cared. But more than anything, I was mad that he didn't tell me. Why would he not ever mention anything about it? I don't know why he'd feel the need to hide it from me. I keep wanting to bring it up to him, but it just feels awkward. Obviously, he doesn't want me to know, for some reason. I don't want to embarrass him or make him feel uncomfortable that my coworker shared this with me. I wonder if he's been nervous this whole time that she might reveal this. But I mean, why would this typically even come up? She and I don't even work in the same department, so we probably only talk a few times a week when working on collaborative projects. Relevant comments on the coworker who made the statement. She made this statement around other people, so now multiple people know. I'm not embarrassed by this, to clarify. If he didn't want me to know about it, he likely doesn't want the whole team of people I supervise to know about it. But now they do. I don't know her well. We don't associate outside of work. We don't even work in the same department. But due to the nature of our roles and the departments we're in, I probably work directly with her a few times a week. She knew him well enough to recognize a picture of him right away and remember his name. I don't really even remember the names of everyone I hung out with in college and haven't kept in touch with, only people who I was actually friends with. I really don't think she was trying to gossip. If what she says is true, it doesn't seem like he was hiding who he was dating back then. I think she assumed it was something I was well aware of. The we she was referring to be a group of girls he went to college with. There was obviously more to the conversation she had with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Update. Adding this info for clarity. We are married, not dating. He's my husband. We've been together for 4 years, married 2. He's 31, I'm 29. I decided to talk to my husband about what my coworker, his former college friend, mentioned to me about him being sexually confused and dating a guy in college. I really tried not to be accusatory because that's not the place I was coming from at all. I prefaced the whole conversation by telling him that he didn't have to talk about this or tell me anything if he didn't want to or wasn't ready for some reason, but that I was really caught off guard by some comments that my coworker made. The actual information she shared didn't upset me, but I was honest in that I was confused and worried about why he hadn't told me himself. And the way she said it was like, everybody knew, so why hide this from me, if it did indeed happen? He just sorts of sat there staring off into space for a minute, and then said, yeah, it's true. I told him I understand that we're not obligated to tell each other about every detail from our pasts, but for me personally, this is something that I feel like he should have been able to share with me. And I have the impression that he was intentionally keeping it from me. He admitted he was intentionally keeping it from me, but not to deceive me. He's lost girlfriends or potential girlfriends over it before, so just got into the habit of not mentioning it. And then once he felt comfortable mentioning it to me, he felt it was too far after the fact, and would just be strange to bring it up at that point. Plus, he says he knows I like my men to be men, lol, I like to be dominated, etc. And he felt that, although he was pretty sure I'd be accepting, he didn't want to risk the small chance that he'd lose attraction in my eyes. I know this isn't about me, but I keep feeling it's about me. It's my fault that I left any amount of doubt in his mind that I would have accepted this, still loved him, and still been attracted to him. I feel bad, like a failure. When I asked him if it was just this one guy, more than one, is he bisexual? Now is the perfect time to tell me. He said he doesn't feel like telling me everything in graphic detail right now. He doesn't know what he considers himself, he guesses he's bisexual. He's not confused. He's attracted to men and women. He loves me. He only wants to be with me. He's not been cheating on me with men this whole time. Well, I never thought that's what was happening anyway. He dated 2 guys, years ago. He had sex with them. He's also done other sexual things with different guys, but not since we've been together. He said he's only telling me that because I asked and he won't lie about it, but he doesn't feel like going into detail right now, maybe later, but don't ask him about it. He apologized for not telling me. He doesn't need to be sorry. I don't think he was trying to trick me. Again, I know it was never about me really, so now I've made him feel bad. This isn't how he wanted me to find out about any of it, and he says, regardless of what I say, he knows things will be awkward between us now. Maybe they will. I don't know. Definitely feels that way right now. We haven't even really been in the same room as each other since this conversation, only in passing and barely any words spoken. I feel like he doesn't want to be near me at all. I had to ask him. I just had to hear from him, but now I sort of feel like I should have just never brought it up. Relevant comments. Comment 1. How did it go today? OP replied. Awkward this morning. I was trying to show affection, but he just seemed to want to keep distance, so I wasn't going to force it. If I were to force it, it'd seem fake and only serve to draw more attention to the issue, and he'd probably feel like it was some sort of pity affection. We had this birthday party for our dog. I mean, we were genuinely celebrating our dog's birthday, but it was really an excuse to have a little party because we just like to entertain. So afterwards he joked, "You should have known, no completely straight man would have a birthday party for his dog." Comment 2. Okay. I think the fact he made that joke is a good sign. That is funny though, lol. Ope on what kind of man? Her husband is that would be difficult for me since I still think he's the most attractive man, inside and out, that I've ever met. Not too long ago, he quit his job after this female coworker was sexually assaulted by the second highest male staff person. After the assault was reported, this female coworker was still made to work closely with the man who assaulted her, and even forced to go on a business trip with him, with the threat of, if she didn't go, she'd be fired. My husband was distraught over this and really put himself on the line to try to protect this woman and get the rapist punished, but the guy got away with it. Eventually he decided he couldn't work with that man or at that company anymore. Morally. So, he quit. This is the type of person he is, and it's very difficult to find a man like this. One last comment from Oop. I'd rather find out he has been with men than find out he was secretly disciple of Andrew Tate. I mean, this is like winning the lottery compared to finding out something like that. Comment. Oh, I'm glad this turned out well and that he's joking about it already, lol. OOP is right too. Finding out your husband is bisexual, and not cheating, is miles better than finding out he's a tater tot, bro. I just blew up at my family and I have honestly never felt better. For some background, I, 25, am the only male in my family, not including my son and nephews. Over the years, I have often been the forgotten one in the family, or the one who is expected to just give things up for others. However, more often recently, it has been the constant need for favors, from building furniture, to sorting out different technology, to being the adult figure at an event for the younger ones, due to them being unable to make it. For example, when growing up, I would often be left home alone while the others in my family went out for meals or for Girls' Day, once also being left with other family members so that they could go on holiday without me. Or I would be expected to take my dad's old clothes, he lived separately from my mom, while my sisters got brand new everything, from clothes to big trips, to having their prom entirely paid for while I had to stay home during my prom. So, on to what caused me to blow up. Yesterday was Father's Day. As mentioned, I have a son myself, and since I am the only male, I am also the main male role model for my nephew. I do not wish to sound whiny, but this is now the 4th year in a row that I have been completely forgotten about. I'm a simple person, so I do not expect nor like big celebrations or gifts. I just wanted a simple message saying Happy Father's Day. Now, I would usually be able to ignore this and move on. However, Mother's Day in our family has always been a huge event, with constant gifts, meals, etc. Wishing for a simple message seemed so small in comparison, so I didn't feel like I was asking too much. It was not as if they had completely forgotten about it, as various members of the family posted about Father's Day, including little posts for those who have unfortunately passed away or are no longer part of the main family unit, like my father. So this ended with me blowing up at my family for constantly asking me for favors, and to make sacrifices when I can't even get the smallest bit of acknowledgement in return. Honestly, I said a lot of things that I have been holding in for the longest time, and I don't think I have ever felt better getting it off my chest. Edit. First off, I would like to say thank you for all the support. It genuinely does mean a lot. As for what some people have been asking, I have tried to talk to my family in the past about feeling like I have been treated unfairly. Communication isn't my strong point. I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism or Asperger's just last year, and it has always resulted in my family, mainly my mother and sister, accusing me of lying or misremembering stuff. As for the blow-up, it resulted in my mother lying about getting me something every single year. Not true, as I keep absolutely everything that has anything to do with my son or Father's Day, and then trying to make me feel guilty for being angry, followed by her quickly leaving the family group chat. My sister, however, quickly jumped in and started trying to belittle me as a father and defend my mother, followed by removing me from the group chat before I could reply. The only one on my side in all of it is my grandmother, who is the only one to treat me fairly. Overall, both my sister and mother completely missed the point I was trying to make and acted like I had asked for a huge celebration for me when all I had said was that I give a lot to the family. It would have been nice to get a simple message from them. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Hugs. It took long enough, and when they keep calling, tell them no. That you have better things to do, like to hang out with your child. They want you to babysit their kids, no. I'm busy. You are a parent. You do not need to fill the role of anyone for free labor. OP replied. Thank you for this. Unfortunately, in the past, when I have told them no, it has led to me being repeatedly shouted at, or guilt-tripped, or just completely ignored for weeks. Comment 2. What specifically did you say when you blew up? Did you blow up on everyone all at once? Was it in person? What was their reaction? OP replied. We have, more accurately now, had, a family group chat. Just after midnight on Father's Day, I sent a simple message in there telling everyone that I will no longer be doing people favors. When asked why, I simply asked them what day it was. This was followed by my mother claiming not to have had internet connection all day, despite sharing things on Facebook throughout the day, and claiming to have gotten me something every year, which is just completely not true, as ever since my son was born, I have kept anything to do with him in various memory boxes, from cards to gifts to little school things he has done. This was followed by me calling her out personally in the chat for not making any effort with me for years, pointing out that she has messaged me twice this year and visited my house 3 times in the last 3 years, but then always expecting me to make constant effort for her or do favors. We live less than 10 minutes apart. My mother then left the chat and hasn't messaged me since. My sister then jumped in and started saying I was being unfair by calling out my mother and tried to belittle me, and then quickly removed me from the group chat before I could reply. Update. Following me blowing up at my family, I received multiple messages either belittling me, playing the victim, or calling me unfair. So after a lot of people gave me the same advice, I have decided to cut them out of my life, mainly my mother and sister. I'm still in contact with my grandmother and younger cousins, as they have genuinely done nothing wrong and have been on my side. However, my mother has decided to be petty. In our family, each of us pays for a different streaming service and shares the accounts. My mother decided to change the password to her account and kick me off it, so I have done the same with the service that I pay for. I will, however, be logging my cousins and grandmother back into it but not revealing the password. So yeah, I've cut off the ones who would make me feel worthless, and they've decided to be petty in return. Update 2. 4 months later. So, I'm doing good. I've cut all contact with my mother and sister. I haven't spoken to them in 4 months, and they haven't attempted to contact me. My mother did contact my girlfriend a few weeks after the incident for an unrelated favor, but was quickly shut down. I am doing better in my own life. I have a new job, working as a data technician, and have been feeling a lot better mentally. Overall, I have just chosen to start living a quieter life. I will still speak to my grandmother every week and check in. On top of that, I have just been making sure I have a stress-free environment, and only have people around me who will build me up and make life better, rather than those who would constantly try and drag me down. So yeah, I cut off my family, and it's been great since I am doing better in my work life, personal life, and most importantly, I'm doing a lot better mentally. Comment. Can you imagine going on vacation and leaving one kid behind? How could the mother even consider that? We have come to the end of our story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Tell us what you think about this story in the comments.